Alright, so big Saturday night game this week for the Lions. The Broncos are coming to town as Broncos country is riding straight into Ford Field. And you know, the Lions want to ride out of Ford Field with the W and potentially a playoff berth, since this game also has playoff implications since Detroit can clinch a playoff spot this week. We'll talk about that later in the video, though. So, of course, the game against the Broncos on Saturday Night Football. So, let's talk about this game and see how the Lions fare in this game. So for the point spread, currently the points line has Detroit favored in this game by 5 points, which is kind of surprising. So, yeah, Detroit's actually some decent favorites in this game. 5 points, that's pretty reasonable, I guess. Denver, though, they lead the all-time series over Detroit 9-5. Denver's even won the last 3 meetings over the Lions. So, yeah, Denver's had Detroit's number for the last decade or so. Denver this year, they're currently 3-3 on the road this year. Detroit is 4-2 at home this year. So let's talk about the key players on the Broncos. So on offense, you have, of course, at quarterback, you have Russell Wilson. As Russell Wilson is having a bounce-back season this year after having a terrible year last year with Nathaniel Hackett, the Hack. In the running back core, you got names like Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine. And you also got fullback Michael Fulton in there, too, to help out run the rock, too. You also got Chris Manhertz. Yeah, Manhertz, too, as a blocking tight end in the game. The receiving core, well, they're without Tim Patrick as he is on the IR with an Achilles injury. They're also without tight end Greg Dulwich as he's on the IR with a hamstring injury. But the receiving core still got some talent on it. As you got names like Jerry Jeudy. You got Cortland Sutton, who's been the #1 receiver for the Broncos. Wow, Jerry Jeudy has been pretty hit or miss. Marvin Mims is also in there, too. You also got Adam Troutman in there as well. The defensive line, it's anchored with the D-line's anchored by DJ Jones and Zach Allen. And then you got Baron Browning there to rush the passer in the rushing game to get pressure in the pass rush. You also got Nick Bonito, but he's questionable for this game with a knee injury. The secondary, it's anchored down by the likes of Pat Surtain, one of the top corners in the game. You also got Justin Simmons, one of the top safeties in the game. And you got Damari Mantis, who has done some good things for the Broncos so far in his young career as well. The head coach of this team is Sean Payne. Sean Payne has done a great job turning this team around, especially considering the Broncos were to start the year at 0-3. Because at the start of the year, the Broncos were a fucking mess at the start of the year. And Sean Payne has done a damn good coaching job to turn this team around. The offensive coordinator is Joe Lombardi, and the defensive coordinator is Vance Joseph, the former Broncos head coach as well. So for the Broncos team rankings, the Broncos offense is currently tied as the 25th ranked offense in the league. They're 27th in the passing game, and they're middle of the pack in the running game, ranked 13th. So, yeah. And in the defense, the Broncos' defense has been pretty bad. They are tied for the second worst defense in the league, tied for 31st. They're 24th against the pass, and they're the worst unit against the run, ranked 32nd against the run. And they're also in the bottom 5 for giving up the most big plays in the league. So I think, obviously, the big keys to win this game is, the Lions need to win the turnover battle. Goff and the Lions offense need to do a better job handling the ball and not turn it over so often, since Detroit has turned the ball over 3 times in the last 4 games. And that average. Yeah, also got established the run game. Feed Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery the ball, establish that run game. And it takes some shots downfield. The Broncos have been prone to giving up big plays. I think you take advantage of it. I think Ben Johnson, though, he needs to not only do a better job play calling wise, but he's got to do a better job of utilizing the talent he has on offense. Look at the receiving core. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got Jameson Williams. You got Sam Laporta, having one of the best rookie tight end seasons in God knows how long. Fucking use them, for God's sakes. And for J-Mo, you gotta get more involved in the offense. Not only just get more involved, but maybe take advantage of that maybe take advantage of the fact they give up big plays and maybe throw some deep shots to him as well. Like, use him more in the offense instead of just on go routes or jet sweeps and shit. Like, not only just utilize him more, but, you know, try and utilize him every way you can to expose the Broncos defense. You know, defensively, gotta do a good job at shutting the play down, gotta get pressure to QB. Like, even though Russell Wilson has been known as one of the hardest QBs to sack in the league, he is prone to taking a lot of sacks, though. You know, gotta get pressure to Russell Wilson. You know, get him uncomfortable. Gotta find a way to get Jerry Jeudy out of the game. You know, gotta stop that run. Like, the defense actually has to come ready to play. You know, something they haven't really done the last couple of weeks, except they did do decently against the Bears, but did help the Lions' offense was complete doo-doo against the Bears. So, yeah, and not only that, the Lions also need to play a full 60 minutes. They need to play a full 60 minutes because that's something they haven't done, especially to start the second half. Because it seems like the Lions, they're a top 5 team in the first half of games. They're pretty good the first half of the game, but the second half of the game is when the Lions struggle the most, when they take the foot off the gas. Like, the Lions need to play a full 60 minutes to win the game, to win. Because I'll tell you right now, the Broncos have been pretty red hot, and the Broncos are only one game behind the Chiefs in the AFC West lead, in the AFC West division. I'll tell you right now, you don't play a full 60 minutes, you take your foot off the gas against the Broncos, I guarantee you Sean Payton's going to make you pay for it. So yeah, especially the second half, the main thing that's really hurt the Lions is how they start the second half. Because in all their second half drives this season, the Lions have only scored once out of 14. And that was the Thanksgiving game against Green Bay when they were down like fucking 17 points. So Detroit needs to come out of the gate strong in the second half and get some points on the board to open the second half on their first drive. You know, Lions also need to do better in the third quarter as well. That second half has just been the Lions' Achilles heel. They need to play a full 60 minutes, bottom line. And of course, this game has a lot of big meanings, not just playoff stipulation-wise, but this is also a revenge game. Because it's Dan Campbell's first game against his old mentor, his old boss, Sean Payton. So yeah, Campbell versus Sean Payton, student versus teacher. Because a lot of people forget that Dan Campbell came from the Sean Payton coaching tree. So yeah, you know Dan Campbell's going to want to come out and try and win this game. And get one over his old mentor, his old boss, Sean Payton. But yeah, it won't be easy though, 100%, you know. Lions have a lot to clean up. They need to do a lot of things, but I think the Lions, they can bounce back against the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos have been a bit inconsistent this year, but they have turned it around pretty well. You know, their Broncos aren't a perfect team, but they've been pretty solid. Like, Sean Payton has done a great job turning them around. You know? Yeah, you know, at the start of the year, I had the Broncos making a wild card. I had a lot of people questioning what the hell I was thinking. But really, with how they've been at the last couple weeks, do you really blame me at the start of the year for taking the Broncos as a wild card? Hey, I just knew something everybody else didn't know. I just felt like Sean Payton was going to turn the Broncos around. Just had a gut feeling, and so far, Sean's proven me right. Even though it didn't get off to the best of starts, he was able to turn it around. Yeah, just the Lions need to clean up a lot of things need to get the win and get on track. And of course, Detroit can clinch a playoff spot this week. But in order for Detroit to clinch it, they have to win this game first before we can talk about clinching. Because if the Lions can clinch, then they would have to wait till Sunday or possibly Monday to know their fate. Because Detroit clinches with a win, because there are 3 scenarios realistically where Detroit clinches. Scenario 1 is they need a win, plus they need the Seahawks to lose Monday night to the Eagles. And then they either need the Packers to lose Sunday to the Buccaneers, or they need the Vikings to lose Saturday to the Bengals, or they need the Rams to lose Sunday to Washington. So they need one of those 3 to lose, plus the win, and they need Seattle to lose. Scenario 2 is they need a win, plus they need the Rams to lose to Washington. Then they need the Buccaneers to lose Sunday to Green Bay. And they would need a Minnesota loss to Cincinnati. And then scenario 3 is they need a win, plus they need the Rams to lose to Washington, plus they need the Packers to lose to Tampa Bay, and then they need Atlanta to lose to Carolina. I can already tell you scenario 3 ain't happening because the Panthers fucking suck. I'll tell you right now, out of all the scenarios here, I think the most realistic one I could see here is win plus Seattle loss plus Minnesota loss. Because Minnesota's now going to their 4th QB with Nick Mullins against the Bengals. And the Bengals are trying to still ride the ship with Jake Browning. As, the Bengals still are within the AFC wildcard race there, too. So, Detroit not only needs to win this week to have a shot at making the playoff to clinch a spot, and then they would need some outside help to clinch a spot 3 weeks early. I mean, it'd be good if the Lions can clinch this week. I mean, it's very possible if Seattle and Cincinnati and Philadelphia both if we get help from Cincinnati and Philadelphia this week, it's very possible. But I've been let down before from asking help from others. Could it be different this time? Possibly, but Detroit needs to do their job first before we could ask for help from anybody else. But Detroit needs to bounce back. They need a big game against the Broncos. This isn't going to be an easy game by any means, because I think the Broncos offense is going to keep up with the Lions. Russell Wilson has usually been pretty good against the Lions. For some odd reason, the Lions always struggle against Russell Wilson. I'll be honest, if the Lions can contain Russell Wilson and get some pressure on him, I think they have a shot to win this game. The defense needs to get pressure to Wilson, and they need to generate turnovers if we're going to have any chance to win this game. Otherwise, it's going to be another offensive scoring shootout where we're depending on Goff and the Lions offense to score 30 points again. But I do think the Lions get this one. I got the Lions winning 23-21. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Lions win by only 2 points. I think it's going to be very close. I think the Lions get this win. They bounce back, get the 10-3. And who knows what happens between Minnesota, what happens in the playoff situation. Could Detroit get help? Maybe, but there are some doubts there. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Just get the win Saturday. And then Sunday and Monday, we sit back and wonder, will Detroit get enough help to clinch a spot this week? We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, that'll wrap it up here. That's all I gotta say. Hope everyone's a great day. I'll see you on our make next. Let's go get this W on Sunday. Let's go get this W Saturday against the Broncos. And let's make Broncos country ride straight into the St. Clair River. Let's ride, more like let's ride off a damn cliff. Well, for the Lions, let's get this W. And let's try and ride straight to the playoffs. Go Lions. I'm out.